We have some wild breaking news. The Trump admin just got caught red-handed trying to delete already posted Epstein photos off of the DOJ website. But it gets worse. They are surgically targeting any photos with Donald Trump in them. So overnight on the DOJ website, files began to disappear from the official release. Just to make it even worse, the full Epstein files haven't even been released, which is inherently illegal. The Epstein Files Transparency Act had one very clear deliverable. 30 days after it passed, all of the Epstein files needed to be released, and redactions can be there, but with common sense. You can't just redact every single government official, but you can redact certain survivors' names. Well, they messed up. They messed all of it up. The DOJ intentionally is covering up government officials' names. They intentionally are delaying the release of more files, and now they are intentionally deleting photos. Let's just back up for 1 second and talk about the consequences for deleting photos and covering things up. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez points out now the cover-up is out in the open. This is far from over. And she posted this last night. She said, everyone involved will have to answer for this. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, the entire administration, protecting a bunch of rapists and pedophiles because they have money, power, and connections. Bondi should resign tonight. Now, this was related to the news. This was only in regards to the news that the Epstein files weren't even going to be fully released yesterday, and they were going to be entirely redacted. Now, it's gotten much, much worse. This morning, Brian Krasenstein said, breaking, below you will see me opening the photo of Donald J. Trump that I downloaded at 4 p.m. last night from the DOJ's website. These photos were derived from the Epstein files, and this file in particular, EFTA 0468, was removed sometime last night from the DOJ's Epstein file dump. You can look for yourself. Before and after footage we have. This is absolute proof that Trump's DOJ is actively scrubbing files related to Donald Trump. Now, the file that they scrubbed, it's a photo in a drawer of Trump, and you can see Melania, Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell. We've seen this photo before. But then there are more photos of Trump, and it seems like either victims, survivors, something. And there are more photos. Let's continue right here. This screenshot from the Oversight Dem says, this file 468 from the Epstein files that included Donald Trump has now been removed from the DOJ website. AG Pam Bondi, is this true? What else is being covered up? We need transparency for the American public, and let me take you to the thread that proves the entire thing. First of all, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the Adam Mockler feed. We are currently in Phoenix, Arizona, debating Trump supporters at the Turning Point USA event, and boy, I'm a bit tired. I haven't slept much over the past few days, so drop a like and subscribe if you appreciate the work. Adam Cochran points out the cover-up that is happening from people in power. We call them the Epstein class. Democrats call them the Epstein class, and it's so incredibly true. Donald Trump has created multiple different classes in our economy. There is the top 10%, the richest of the rich, who are able to donate to politicians and lobby to get things passed, and basically slide some money under the table to maybe not be released in the Epstein files. Then we have the bottom 90%, the average American, like the vast majority of Americans, people like you and I. We're not donating to political candidates. I mean, I gave like $40 to Kamala Harris. I did have a recurring donation to her, but I'm not a lobbyist. You and I don't have access to the healthcare that the richest of the rich can just pay out of pocket for. People like you and I are left behind by this current administration. I mean, just to speak from a personal standpoint, I'm a young dude. I'm 23 years old. Gen Zers are not able to buy housing. A lot of my friends have graduated college, and they weren't able to find a job for almost a year. The job market is terrible for young people. The housing market is perhaps even worse for young people. The point that I'm trying to make here is that it feels like Republicans, we could talk about Trump in particular, have created these dueling economies, these dueling classes. The top 10%, if they're in the Epstein files, they can just pay to play and pay off judges, pay off whoever they want so that this never comes to light. The bottom 90%, we're sitting here wanting transparency from the government. I want two things from the government right now. Transparency, and for the government to give a fuck about actual Americans, like everyday Americans. We're sending a bunch of money to Argentina, $40 billion. We're sending a bunch of money to Israel, like $20 billion this year. Over and over, we send all of this money. Where is the healthcare for American people? To continue, proof. The DOJ just deleted one of the files they released that contained Trump. Yesterday, file 468 was shown to have a picture of Trump that they missed. We know this because it was downloadable yesterday, as can be seen by my local copy. Adam Cochran has the photo right here. There are photos of Trump in this corner, and he had not only the downloaded file, but he had the downloadable archive, so he could see all of the different files. Let me show you right here. EFTA 467, EFTA 468, EFTA 469. But then it gets a little bit more peculiar because we find out as of the morning, the DOJ site no longer lists this file. It is inaccessible, even directly. So now we look at EFTA 467, it skips over to EFTA 469. Adam Mockler then says, to ensure this wasn't just a data error, I re-downloaded the entire dataset to see if the file still existed there. It doesn't. If you download the full archive this morning, it skips over file 468 entirely. There is no file 468. This is after the ridiculous claims by the DOJ spokesperson that, quote, no politically exposed persons were redacted or withheld, and redaction reasons were provided for every withholding. 5 out of 6. Picture 468 contains no identifiable victims, no police or intelligence techniques, no abuse material, photos that were already public, and no national security secrets. Therefore, there is no legal reason to remove the files under this act. Pam Bondi and the DOJ have quite literally illegally removed a file from their own document publication to protect Trump from embarrassment. This is the clearest sign that it is a malicious cover-up and not an earnest effort. This is perhaps the clearest sign. Then they proved Data set 1 has been changed. Harry Sisson, we have some breaking news. Harry Sisson reports at least 16 documents and photos have been deleted from the Epstein files overnight, including a photo of Trump with no explanation from the DOJ or Trump per AP. They're actively covering for Trump and other wealthy men. Keep the pressure up. This is a really good example of the pressure campaign that has come from the left, but also some people on the right. People like Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene have been applying pressure as well. And the pressure campaign from the American public and some people in power is beginning to work. Our voices are being heard, and one of the really fucked up things about the survivors' stories, I've listened to a lot of their testimony, a lot of their stories that they've talked about, they've done a bunch of interviews, is that this isn't just the Trump administration's fault. This isn't just this administration's fault. And I'm not saying it's Biden's fault or whatever, but administration after administration has sort of neglected this. And Florida AGs, people in Florida, have also neglected this. Remember, Jeffrey Epstein didn't start doing this in like 2019. Jeffrey Epstein had been doing this for decades. In 2008, Jeffrey Epstein was actually arrested and then given a plea deal by Alexander Acosta, who then worked for the Trump administration. So the entire point is, these women have been trying for so long to have their stories heard. Since they were girls, they were trying to have their story heard. Now they're grown women who are out there getting some transparency, or at least hypothetically, they were supposed to get some transparency, yet now Donald Trump is doing perhaps the worst cover-up since Watergate. Like, when's the last time we've had a cover-up this brazen, this bad, and get blown open in such a massive way? Just cover-up after cover-up, and the Trump administration is by far the largest and most aggressive purveyor of cover-ups of this type of sexual assault. Now, I said earlier that administration after administration has been neglecting this. That's not me both sidesing it. I'm not trying to say both sides are bad. The Trump administration has uniquely stifled the release of these files due to some incentives that we can guess. But the survivors have been trying for decades to have their story heard. So I'm at least happy we're getting the transparency we need. I'm at least happy the public pressure is up and working. Thank you all. I'll see you in the next video, and peace out.